And welcome to a video blog dealing with the potential end of January snowstorm affecting West Virginia and Kentucky. I'm meteorologist Shane Smith. It is the early morning hours of January 26th, and here's a look at what's coming up. Well, let's start things off by taking a look at the NAM model on Thursday. Okay, so here we're looking at the NAM forecasting model. I've drawn fronts on there to kind of give you an idea where everything is. You can see cold front is moving through the Ohio Valley on Thursday morning. That's about 8 a.m. with a low pressure starting to organize over West Texas. Now, this cold front moving in is what's going to help set the stage for the potential snowfall. We'll see light snowfall with it. Not a lot of moisture with this front, so maybe an inch or two if we're lucky across most of the area. But what it's going to do to help set up the potential significant snowfall is to bring colder air into the area. So let's fast forward to Friday morning. Still looking at the NAM, you can see cold front has already moved through, and that low pressure is really fired up over Texas, bringing a lot of moisture down to the folks down in the deep south. But it's starting to bring moisture into southern Kentucky, and the freezing line is just south of the state border at this point. So that could be snowfall at that point instead of rain or that icy stuff we don't want to talk about. Let's take a look at some of the other models and see what they're showing for the same time frame. Now, this is the Canadian model. Now, it's showing something a little bit different than the NAM. It's wanting to bring the moisture in a little bit faster. And if you notice that purple line that has 540 written by it, you can pretty much assume that's going to be the freezing line, or roughly where the freezing line is going to be. And you can see it has it actually going into parts of central Kentucky and northern West Virginia, up, say, along the Kanawha Valley and Charleston, up towards Morgantown. If that would be the case, instead of starting out as snow, this could potentially be something a little bit nastier, maybe a freezing rain sleet combo, maybe rain. It's kind of the northern outlier, though. It's trying to push everything farther off to the north than all the other models. Everything else is holding it down to the south, and we'll see that here as we look at the GFS. As you can see, the GFS is kind of a in-between between the Canadian and the NAM. Excuse me, allergies been bothering me the last couple of days. You can see the freezing line right across southern Kentucky, let's say just south of Highway 80 or the old Hal Rogers Cumberland Parkway corridor. And you can see that would lead to more, say, snow north of that, maybe snow, freezing rain, sleet mix along that, and strictly rain farther south you go. But that's just according to the 540 line. If we actually look at the precip type, and that takes into account surface temperatures and temperatures all the way up to about 5,000 feet, we'll see what the GFS is thinking as far as precipitation type goes. So for right now, GFS is keeping it all snow starting out in Kentucky, which is good news because we don't want to deal with that freezing rain. Everywhere you see that pink, which is pretty much the entire state of Kentucky, that is showing snowfall. Now, when you see the blues and the reds on that precipitation map type, that's when you start dealing with sleet and freezing rain. So let's hope, as we continue going towards Friday, that that holds true and that we don't get into that messy scenario. And we'll go ahead and kind of take a look and see what the GFS is showing after Friday morning. Now, this is a GFS for Friday night about 8 o'clock. You'll see freezing lines still well south of both Kentucky and West Virginia, and some heavier precipitation moving in. Now, anytime you see those dark blues, that would be around a quarter-inch of liquid precipitation for the 6-hour period that this model is showing. But when you're dealing with frozen, you got to generally multiply by 10. So instead of seeing a quarter-inch of liquid, we could see upwards of 2.5-inch frozen, so 2.5 inches of snow in that time period. So we'll be seeing snow starting Friday morning, continuing through Friday evening, and for folks in Kentucky, it's going to last all the way through Saturday. We'll see that here as we go a little bit further ahead in time. Now, this is Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Once again on the GFS, you can see heaviest of the snow would be over West Virginia at this point. Snow would be wrapping up in Kentucky. Should last in Kentucky through late Saturday morning into early afternoon, and all the way through Saturday day into Saturday night for West Virginia. So that's kind of the timeline we're looking at right now. Let's start talking rough totals. Now, this is the GFS's idea for snowfall totals through Sunday morning. Now, this is not what I'm forecasting. It's way too early to be talking about what I think totals are going to be. This is just a rough idea of what the GFS thinks could happen. And as you're seeing, 10, 8, 10, 12 inches of snow across most of southern Kentucky, which is a very significant snowfall. And as we go into the mountains of eastern Kentucky and southern West Virginia, 12 inches plus, a foot, at least a foot of snow, not out of the realm of possibility. Now, there's a lot of things that could vary with this to cause this to either go higher or lower. If this storm system moves more to the north than what the models are showing right now, you're going to drastically have to cut back those snowfall totals, move them farther to the north, and then you start running the risk for freezing rain, sleet, significant icing. If you move this storm system a little farther south, you have to move all those totals farther south. And we have to remember, we're still 4 days away from this. This is probably going to start Thursday with that initial batch, but really kick in Friday morning. And that's when we've got to be really on the lookout. I'm going to put out a first call map probably Wednesday afternoon with what I think totals are going to be. But we just want to give everyone a heads up that, hey, this could be a potentially significant snowfall. This is going to be the first real big one for parts of southern Kentucky that really got left out during that December storm. For parts of eastern Kentucky, say Hazard, back over to Pikeville, points north and south, this could be very similar to what you saw in December with the heavy wet snow. Now, for us folks in West Virginia, say Beckley, Bluefield, over to Lewisburg, I don't think it'll be quite as bad as the December 18th snowstorm, but this still could be a very significant snowstorm. Could cause a lot of travel problems, could cause some power outages, but it's really too early to call exactly what's going to happen and how it's going to impact. But just want to give everyone a heads up. It's something I'm going to be following very closely over the next couple of days. I will have daily updates on Facebook, Twitter. Probably will get the old blog fired back up. So I'll let you know what's coming and how the models have changed. But just be aware that this could be a potentially significant snowstorm on Friday, and it's something I've got my eyes on. Thanks for stopping by and checking in with me. Remember, follow me at Weatherman Shane on Twitter. You already see me on Facebook if you're seeing this. Spread the word. Let people know, hey, this could be something, and I'll be keeping an eye on it. Take care.